So this one's a roast in the style of Michael Scott from The Office. Tim Buchanan. Tim once wrote a werewolf melodrama. Boom, roasted. Tim's a failed wine connoisseur. Boom, roasted. Tim likes Good and Plenty. Boom, roasted. Tim auditioned for Shark Tank with a My Chemical Romance themed breakfast cereal called I'm Not Okay, but Cereal Is. Boom, roasted. Tim tried to do the moonwalk at a party and during realized that he couldn't do a moonwalk. Boom, roasted. Tim looks better as Ron Swanson. Boom, roasted. All of Tim's Instagram pics of his cooking are just reposts. Boom, roasted. Tim voted for Trump. Roasted. He didn't do that. Tim is still waiting on a reply to his 2002 video form tear-filled marriage proposal to Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Boom, roasted. Tim makes Paul Bunyan look like Paul Bunyan. Boom, roasted. And Tim is one of the most beloved members of our cohort, so please, welcome him. Welcome him to the stage.
For the record, anybody who knows me knows that I would never audition for a show called Shark Tank. Does anybody know what this thing is? Can I put my water on it? I've been looking at it all. Nope, you can't do it. You can't do it. Okay, it's fine. I'm just gonna leave it there. Okay. So I figured I would do something a little different this time. I'm gonna read some poems, which are poems but with the letter E subtracted. So none of my poems have the letter E in them. That's a flat out fucking lie. Actually, there's E's all over the place. There's an E in the title of this one, second word. So I took a poetry workshop this semester, and I started out as a poet. This is something that I've told some of you. And then a long time ago, I was taking a poetry workshop, and my professor looked at me and she was like, "Would you try writing a piece of fiction one time, just a short story?" And I wrote one, and she's like, "Yeah, you're not a poet." And so I had this stigma for a long time, and I avoided poetry, and I was like, "Oh, poems, who needs them?" And then I realized I was an idiot, and of course we're required to take a poetry course, but I have so many friends who are lovely, talented poets that I kind of wanted to, I wanted to see what it was like, and I wound up really liking it. That's not to say that these are any good, but you can judge for yourselves. Art is subjective. Thank you, Frank. So I'm just going to start reading now and stop talking. This is at the German laundromat, 2 p.m. on the 4th of July. The laughter of women in humming, humid air, hair up off the neck, screaming children run circuits on feet made of light. Their fathers catch them, winking, their hands sinking into doughy little bellies, set them lightly on the benches of an indoor picnic table painted blue. They eat homemade tamales from a plastic shopping bag. Drops of red sauce gather on their clothes. They call out ponies and dolphins. Their mothers whisk the white shirts up over their heads. There are 3 men, childless like me, who load their own washers. They wait out their timers by the pop machine. The rumble becomes a banging, unbalanced load, while warm sheets rise in the dryers like new bread. A sign above them reads, Willkommen, and another, No suba a sus hijos, ni en los carritos, ni en las mesas. Bathrooms are just for customers. I open the dryer, touch test for damp, and beg, please be dry. I have a dozen such tasks left today, and it is already afternoon. This one's called Hands. I have my mother's hands, round and deft, of soft flesh and short fingers, made to shape and stir. My uncle's hands are like that too. In my early 20s, I wanted to be like him, a chef, and cut my hands many times trying. Once, in my early 30s, a woman fell in love with the shape of my hands. For months I flexed to make the tendons strain, the veins rise. They ached for a year when I let go. I come from a long line of hands. Highway lines crease our palms, and we can pick clean in the briefest afternoon the carcass of pig or bird laid out on the white slab table in my mother's kitchen. I'm a bad judge of length of poems. I think this one's kind of long, but it might not be super long. It all fits on one page, but I manipulated the font a little to do that. So, I don't know. I was trying to be conscious of how an audience would feel, and I just hope you're not bored by this. It's like 100% longer than it was when I submitted it to workshop. Yeah. This is, in other news, I have the little green book you asked about, the one from Detroit, bought for me by the Irish flight attendant, the only one here who knows me. I met her last winter in Las Vegas and didn't see her again until summer in LA. She sends a text from the coast of Chicago. Here is the worst of all the places I've been, here and Boots, and I tell her the news I've been hearing about clowns showing up in backyards, silent as dolls. They vanish into woods when pursued. I, like every vanishing thing, want to know where they come from and see them entirely gone. The California condor is only interesting on its way out, though I hear it's making a comeback, a slower proliferation than the clowns, and I root for those bald heads, slick as condoms, while the bees disappear. We need bees more than condors and clowns, and this trick of extinction is too neat for comfort, everything slipping away into secret space. Dryads were said to move great distances by stepping into one tree and coming out another. Nothing goes clean, the fossil record shows. So who'll pick up the bees' bones when they're gone? I hope I never know. She changes the subject to talk about fabric stores in Dublin, and sheets so clean, smelling them stops your nose like a second of drowning. And this is the last one I'll read tonight. Nobody's looked at this poem, and I sort of wrote this one in reaction to the great upset of last week. So, I don't know. It could be cheesy, it could be dumb, it could be good, it could be raw, it could be intense. I was feeling a lot of things, and I was walking to class, and I wrote a poem called Walking to Class Sometime After 3 p.m., November 9th, 2016. How do I take pride and say my father is proud, knowing our ways of looking at the world are as finally distant as the moon from the stars? Perhaps this contradiction is the real estate agent of love, flailing in omniscience. The whole country has died, sitting at the table, swallowing stones to settle an upset stomach. Outside, the sky is still blue. Cars cross the intersection in their proper order, and it's hot here in the sun. I wouldn't mind if it slipped behind a cloud to rest. I would. If I could, I'd stick my whole head in, breathe deep, and become cloud on the inside. That's it for me. Thank you very much.